Welcome to Honestly Becoming. I'm your host, Mary Angelica, and this is your daily 5-minute podcast focused on mindset, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. Be ready for mindset shifts and powerful questions to help you uncover the version of yourself that is most authentic, successful, and honest, so that you can get closer to that version 5 minutes at a time. Let's create your most successful and fulfilling life. Tune in every day to start honestly becoming the best version of yourself. If you've been an entrepreneur long enough, you've lost a friend or two along the way. Because there comes a point when you realize that not every single relationship in your life is a healthy one. And it's a really hard pill to swallow. It can really drag you down because we're so attached to our relationships. We're so attached to our friends and our loved ones, and it becomes incredibly difficult to untangle ourselves from people when they have such a clear grasp on us. Who are the people, or maybe it's just the one person in your life, that if I ask you to think about, what is the friend that maybe hurts you the most or feels the most like they might fall into the category of being a toxic friend, would you think about? And I'd love for you to ask yourself, does this person often overstep my boundaries? Do they not respect my values? Do they make me feel guilty for spending time with other people instead of them? Is there something about this friend that they're bringing up their struggles as a way to manipulate me? Do I often feel like I have to do right by them? Do I feel any sense of fear around our relationship or me not meeting a certain standard? If you answered yes to any of these, or there is an individual you have already known for a while is maybe not the greatest person to have in your life and not the healthiest relationship, I would encourage you today to find out and make a list, if you can, of a few ways that you can either remove this person or at least minimize your encounters or exposure to this person. And the reason I say, limit your exposure and not just, fully cut out is because sometimes for some people, these may be family members, right? These may be people that are super close to you. Or for others, it might be a friend that is entangled with so many other friends that you're finding it really difficult to find out how you would truly remove this person from your life. But maybe you can find a way to limit exposure. And the reason for this is that I want you to really watch your energy levels and really take into account when your energy feels drained and when your energy feels full. Often you'll find with people that are, maybe not the healthiest relationships, your energy will find that it's draining. You'll find that you end up being exhausted after hanging around with a certain individual, or you'll find yourself maybe being or showing up in a way that you haven't for a while or it doesn't really feel good or aligned with you. There's a few questions I want you to ask yourself first, which is, have you shared a boundary with this person? Have you let them know that you are setting up this boundary before you judge them for stepping over it? So often we set up a boundary in our head and we just expect people to just know what we're thinking and know that that's a boundary for us. But sometimes you have to be super crystal clear and put it in black and white. Hey, this is a boundary I'm setting. For example, if there's a subject that is triggering for you and you don't want to touch it or talk about it with a certain person, you could say, hey, this topic is off bounds and off limits for now. I'm not ready to talk about this right now, but when I am, I'll let you know. Or if I am, I'll let you know. Or just let them know this topic is out of bounds right now. I can't talk about this right now. And that's enough. If you find that this person keeps pushing on that subject and making you feel uncomfortable, then you know that they're not respecting that boundary because you've clearly set it. The next thing is about feeling guilty with spending time with other people. If you find that you're constantly having to almost defend the way that you spend your time, really find out why you have to keep defending yourself or asking, this person to understand your type of life. There is nothing fun around talking about our toxic relationships, people that maybe are not the healthiest relationships, right? If you don't want to use the word toxic and that doesn't feel like authentic or right for you. But whatever it is, there is likely somebody in your life that is not kind of fitting in and you're just really trying to make it work, but it might not be. And hey, if you've already cut these people away or if you've already let them go, then congratulations and all the power to you. I know that was not easy. But if you're feeling like those people are still around, ask yourself why they're around and what can you do to limit or remove your exposure to these individuals. Speaking from personal experiences, losing a friend And realizing eventually that this was an unhealthy relationship is one of the hardest things that I've gone through. It has taken lots of work to get through figuring out that there was nothing inherently wrong with me, but this relationship just was not going to work out. Maybe in finding out more about this, you find that you end up having to see a therapist and that you need to unpack this a little bit further. Feel free to do that and reach out to a local therapist to help you work through it. Think of your life as a box, and you've been living in the box for a long time. You've likely been following a lot of societal norms, and you've been showing up, you've been doing your 9 to 5, you've been doing your work for a long time. You have your friends, maybe from school, maybe from childhood, you have your family members, and everyone has seen you the same way. They've known you and they've seen the way that you've grown up. When you get to entrepreneurship, when you decide to make that switch, something inside of us also changes, because now we're not really following the true, kind of prescribed nature of life. And so as we pull ourselves out of this box, it's almost like we're pushing out on the outer limits of this box. And it takes a while for us to break through to the other side. But in that push, there is a pull. And the pull comes from the people within the box, the people that have known us the longest sometimes, the people that don't want us to change, because they don't want us to change, because they don't probably mean that our relationship changes, right? Our attention changes, our focus changes, the way that we relate to each other changes, the things that we have in common may change. And that may be hard for people to understand. But know that there is a vast beyond outside of this box. And as you continue to push further and further on this boundary, on this box, on the edge of it, eventually you will break through. And sometimes you will be able to completely remove this box from all around you. And you will be able to coexist within this great becoming of who you continue to be and become, and all the people in your life. And sometimes there are others who really want to put this box back on you. If you know who these people are in your life, I want you to be and pay more attention to who they are and how you allow your energy to be around these people and why. Because I've talked to enough entrepreneurs to know that at some point, there comes a really hard moment when we lose a friend. Because we have changed a lot and they don't want us to. Or we have both changed in very dramatically different ways, or our values no longer align. And that's really hard. It's hard to change this idea and this picture in your mind that you've created of who's going to be around you when you're 90 or 100 years old on your rocking chair telling old life stories. And sometimes the people that you really expected to be there don't look like they're going to be there anymore. And that's a really hard pill to swallow. So for today, I just want you and encourage you to look inward and really figure out who in my life has really been pulling me back into the box. And why do I allow them to constantly do so? How can I limit or remove my exposure to this person? It's not a fun exercise, not by any means, but it's an important one.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please leave a review. It helps the podcast be found by more people like you so they too can join us every day. Find me on Instagram at honest.ceo and feel free to share a screenshot of the podcast and tag me so I can see you and say thanks. Visit honestceo.co/calendar to get your free affirmation and manifestation prompt calendar in your inbox on the 1st of every month. Thanks again, and stay honest.